It's the position of the equation on the, let's say, the war fronts in Yemen. There is a massive shift since last September, especially with the appointment of General Aljenaid. He have reinvigorated all the coalition, let's say, efforts within Yemen. He redirected or repositioned the forces, the Yemenis, from all sides to let's say, go and get objectives reached, military, especially in Ma'rib, and pull the squeeze on Sana'a. And also the final, let's say, declaration that Hudaydah is no more going to be recognized as a civil port, but it could, if they don't release that ship, is going to be considered as a military target.
Do you think then it will have that desired effect? Do you think there will be a psychological impact on the Emirati population, and might they in turn try and pressure the government to withdraw from the war in Yemen?
Instead of waiting for UAE, official response, why don't you just take 5 minutes and review Twitter, and you will see a full support. The Emiratis will not budge, and they will continue in their moral obligation towards what their national authority took as a political decision back when the coalition has launched its operations. They will not retreat, nor the Emiratis people.
We're yet to hear a condemnation from Washington. The UAE is one of America's strongest allies in the region. Are you surprised by the silence from the White House tonight?
I think a friend of mine, he's a journalist from the States, have tweeted that today is a national holiday and it is Martin Luther King Day.
That's true.
That's why everybody is offline in a way. But that doesn't mean that, a development as such, that it does warrant some sort of response, definitely, from the United States.
I believe we've got Dean Mickelson back with us now. Thank you, Abdullah. Do stay with us. Dean Mickelson, I hope we can hear each other now. First of all, what is your initial reaction to what happened today, the first ever drone strike by the Yemeni Houthis?
Okay, well, this isn't really the first ever drone strike.
On UAE soil.
In the UAE. This was not the first ever drone strike. There was one that appeared to have happened in 2018. And that got verified about a year after that. So there have been indirect assaults into the UAE via Yemen or Iran proxies, either coming from the north or from Iran itself somehow. So we kind of anticipate them to happen, but not on a regular basis. So this is the first one, though, but this one was kind of building up. If you follow social media or see what's going on Houthi lines, stuff like that, there has always been talk over the last few weeks and months of an attack into the UAE. The reason being is because the Emiratis have helped support the Saudi coalition in conducting more airstrikes, and the Giants Brigade and the Houthis have lost more ground than they've gained recently. Up to 2 months ago, the Houthis were gaining ground, but they've taken this back, and a lot of that's been due to the influence of the Emiratis helping.
So this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to that rather than a long plan?
It's a knee-jerk reaction,
okay.
Yes.
I spoke to an Emirati official earlier, and she said she found it strange that such small drones would come from as far away as Yemen, and she implied it may have come from the sea or something like that. As an aviation security expert, what's your view on that?
Aviation and maritime, actually. It is possible because we've had the Houthis launch towards the, I can't remember the vessel's name, where 2 individuals were killed, 2 British individuals were killed. That was potentially launched offshore. We also have, they also have fast boats that can be used as well. So supplied by the Iranians or supported by the Iranians. So we've got that possibility. It is a distinct possibility there. But missile-wise, they do have the capability with the Shahed 136 to reach that distance. So with their drones, the Shahed 136 as well comes into play.
So it could have come from Yemeni territory, and it could have come from...
It could have come from Yemeni territory, even though, as I said in the past, it can come from the north. It could come from Iraq, as there was indication as well on social media as well, that the Iraqis were letting the Emiratis know that there was potential an attack as well via Sabrine. So...
Well, going back to
complicated environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to how it is being covered on social media today, and a lot of people have pointed out how Iranian media has taken a direct quote from the Houthis saying, "We are going to strike the UAE," and run with that, with cartoons, yes, and all the rest of it. Abdullah, they've been saying all along they are going to go ahead and do this.
Put it this way: are we discussing this or taking this from the moral or political or the military point of view? The Houthis, at the end of the day, they want to reach some sort of political conclusion that what they represent in terms of the populace of Yemen, they represent less than 5%, by the way. But unfortunately, the whole situation in Yemen, in a way, was mismanaged by the international community to recognize al-Houthi as an equivalent part or party in this conflict, while they don't. This is one that gave them more support in terms of, or recognition, not just from Iran, but also by securing and developing even the drones and the rockets that they have. I recall reading an article just last week when General Mackenzie was asked, and he said they are more potent, more lethal, because at the present time, those drones and rockets have better, let's say, navigation systems that is getting through to the Houthis and Iran from sources even from Europe. So what we need to do now, more than anything else, it's not just a matter of condemnation. The coalition need to push hard to gain control immediately of all the ports on the Red Sea, starting with Hodeidah and pushing towards Sana'a, and then bring this whole mess to a conclusion as soon as possible.